I don't know if it never happened, but I do know he does take everything personal, and in everything that he does, cards or whatever. I was in a room with him for, I don't know, 5 hours one time, day of a game. He wouldn't let us leave. Me, Tom Chambers, Ty Corbin. It was an exhibition game, and he would not let us leave. And we were stiff. I called Cotton, said, Cotton, I can't go. He said, that's okay, I was gonna hold you out. Tom called him up. Cotton, I'm sore, I can't go. That's okay, I wasn't gonna play you. And Ty Corbin wouldn't dare do it, right? I'm not doing it. So Jordan stands up in the room and he says, you tell that boy Dan Marley, I got something for him tonight. And now I stood up, I couldn't hardly walk. I mean, literally, we had played the night before, traveled that day. I was stiff as a board. He would not, it was Scottie Pippen in the room, Horace Grant. I mean, we just playing this game called Tonk, okay? And we just going at it. And he looked at Tom and I, he said, I'm gonna give your boy 40.
In an exhibition game?
Yeah, we like, who? Dan. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Bet 100, bet 200. I took the bet. Tom took the bet.
Oh no.
So he starts the game and he just going nuts. I'm over there still stiff. I got heat packs under my clothes, man. I'm like stiff. This man's out there going crazy. And Tom and I sitting there looking at him like, this dude is just insane. So he had about 34. And he walks over to the bench and he catches the ball. He catches it. He looks at Tom and I like, get that money ready. He catches the ball and Dan's guarding him. He reverse pivots on him. So Dan's got to backed up, and he went right and he just tried to tear the rim down. Tongue wag, he went down like this, right? And holding up 400. Nobody knew what the 4 was, right? And so we're looking, so timeout, Cotton called a timeout. And Michael came over after the timeout. He said, Cotton, your boys, they were playing cards with me all day. Told on us. So that's why.
Snitched?
Oh yes. So that's why. Yeah. So that's why y'all not playing. That's why they not playing. And they bet me too. I told him I was gonna give your boy Dan Marley 40, and he had 30. He had 30, 36, 38, and we sitting over there. And Cotton turns to Dan, who's a rookie, right? Because Dan supposedly locked Jordan up, you know, in the Olympics, right? And Cotton looks at Dan and said, Dan, what did you do to Michael? Just messing with him. And Dan was like, I didn't do anything to him. We fell out laughing. And he went, man, he dunked for the 40 on everybody. And look, what ran past bench, I want my money. Checked himself out the game. The next day, Cotton tried to kill me and Tom, virtually the whole team in practice, because he felt that that's the reason we didn't play.
Oh my goodness.
So Michael will tell.
Oh my goodness, wow.
I will never forget this. I never had a player to do this. So I remember us going to Chicago. Now we're in suit and tie. We're sitting in the locker room. We just walked in the locker room. Now remember, Michael Jordan walks into our locker room, suit and tie. I'm like, what the hell is he doing in our locker room? Is he coming to, to the training room? Or what's going on? So he walks by me, he walks by Kevin, we get to Randy with me. He said, lace him up, it's gonna be a long night. I'm like, did he just come in our locker room? I didn't know what to say, I was shocked. He had 60 that night. He had 60 points that night. We ended up winning the game, but the scoring performance he put on that night was incredible.
I had a poster of Michael Jordan on my wall. So when I would go to the game, I would actually rub the poster, one time, sometimes twice if I wanted to have a really, really good game. And I'd go out and score 30, 40. And so I always attributed touching MJ's poster brought me luck. So then, how ironic I get drafted by the Bulls. So my first game, come in, I felt like I didn't need the poster anymore because I got Michael Jordan next to me now. I remember going out, getting ready to go shoot. Michael was, had his shirt off. He's had his North Carolina shorts on. So he's in the middle of getting dressed, which is kind of awkward if you think about this story I'm going to tell you. I start to walk out and I go, wait, you know what? I used to touch his poster. I think I'm going to touch him. What luck with that? That'll be really awesome because I get to touch the real guy now and that'll bring me luck. So I walk over to MJ, he's, his shirt's off, he's got his back turned to me, he's in his North Carolina shorts, he's getting dressed. I walk over and I rub him twice. Now that I look back on it, it was kind of awkward. So He looks at me, he's like, what are you doing? I said, oh man, I used to touch your poster when I was in college, man. You used to bring me luck. He said, man, get away from me, dude. Don't be doing that. I'm like, and I didn't think it was weird at the time, but then I looked back and I said, oh yeah, that might have been a little bit crossing the line. But after that, I didn't have to touch him anymore. He said, don't ever touch me again. I'm on your team. So I'm like, okay, cool. But your mind tells you, it's a mind thing. You gotta believe in something.
You don't seem like a trash talking kind of guy
I'm
to
not.
me.
And I never talk trash, but one time in my entire life.
With Jordan?
With Jordan.
Oh, all right.
First ever time ever talking trash. So we're with the dream team.
Okay.
And for 3 days in a row, we had came into a tie because what Coach Daly did, he split the team up East versus West. So Barkley, Jordan, Larry Bird, Pippen, and Patrick Ewing all played in the East.
Wow.
And then we had the West guys, myself, David Robinson, Malone, Mullen, Drexler, and John Stockton. So we would play every day, tie. So this is the 4th day. And we got out on them about 12-2. And I said, I'm gonna really rattle his chain. So I went over there, tapped him on the shoulder, and said, hey man, if you don't turn into Air Jordan, we're gonna blow you out today.
That's all right. That's all right. Here we go.
Jimmy, his eyes got big. Usually that tongue come about right here, now it's way out. He broke the huddle, he hit a 3 and he's looking at me. So he came down again, hit another 3. So the greatest shot, now I've been involved in all 3 of them. First, Dr. J walked out in air, out of bounds.
Oh yeah,
Reverse layup,
under. Right.
Michael Jordan in 1991 came down on us with the right hand, tongue out. He switched in midair to the left, spun it against the glass. Now this is the greatest shot I've seen. He came down the right side, took off. David Robinson took off, and he said, okay, I'm gonna just sit here in air. Because I know David Robinson is gonna go down. So David Robinson went to the ground, he 360, tongue moving, and dunked it.
In a practice game.
In a practice game. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I was just stunned, and all of us were stunned to see him hang in the air that long and 360. Michael Jordan is so incredible. There'll never be.
The moral is you should not talk trash to Michael Jordan.
Yeah. Thank you.
You say 360, you mean like it was like full, like this, all the way?
It didn't take me long from when I got there in '86 to realize the things he was doing was freakish, right? And Kenny, I can tell you, you should see the stuff my first 2 years, like just tapes of games we played in, right? He was shredding people. I mean, these are all stars, all defensive players. They had nothing for him, nothing, right? And no task was too big, right, for him. The freak stuff that he was doing, you don't even get to see the freak stuff as far as real athletic that you won't see, because, you know, it really wasn't ESPN running around at that time like that, right? So you couldn't see the highlights. The stuff he was doing in and game out, this was daily, right? We would find ourselves watching him in the game.
Taking pictures,
Like, whoa. Because the stuff he was doing so freakish, it was inhuman. Like, who can do that, right?
Right.
And he could do it, right? And, you know, he really had no fear. He really had no fear. And he just played, he just competed, right?
If Michael played today, he probably averaged almost 50 a game. I mean, he really would, because you wouldn't be able to touch him on the perimeter, so he'd be shooting a ton of free throws.
Yeah, so when everybody does this like Michael LeBron comparison, it's like you almost can't, it's not the same game that they're playing. It's not the same game,
you're right, it's not the same game. I would have loved to see LeBron play during, in the 90s, in the early 90s, late 80s.
Well, he would have been a baby.
Give me your best Michael Jordan story.
Michael Jordan story. You guys remember Anthony Peeler?
Yes.
Okay, so
out of Missouri, right?
Out of Missouri.
Yeah.
So we got Chicago Bulls coming in town, and unfortunately, I got a sprained ankle you know. And so,
did you say fortunately? You
unfortunately,
do? Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, I enjoy guarding Mike because he was, you know, the one thing I did with Mike is I never got him pissed off. You know, he make a shot, you say, "Good shot, Mike." You know, you don't talk trash to him so he can go off for 60. You know, you try to kill him with kindness. You don't try to talk trash to him. So they're getting off the bus. We're done with shoot around and we're walking out. And MJ says, "B. Scott, what's going on?" I said, "What's up, MJ?" He said, "Man, I hear that you're not playing tonight." I said, "No, I sprained my ankle." He said, "Who's guarding me?" I said, "Anthony Peeler." He said, "Oh, 50. So I told Anthony Peeler, "Listen, MJ, he's probably gonna go for about 50 tonight on you. So just don't piss him off. You know, just be cool." He ended up with 54. So the man could do basically whatever he wanted to do on that basketball court.
I started talking as soon as I got into the league, but I had a bad experience.
What was the bad experience?
Well, my rookie year, we were playing the Chicago Bulls, and this is Michael Jordan's 3rd or 4th year in.
Okay.
And we were playing the next exhibition game in some obscure place. And most veterans do not like to play in exhibition games. They want to get to the real thing. I'm a wide-eyed, energetic rookie, and we're playing this exhibition game, and Michael's going through the motion. And Chuck Person, who's on my team, who's a trash talker as well, is like, "Can you believe Michael Jordan, the guy everyone's talking about, who's supposed to be able to walk on water? You're out here killing him, Reg." This is in the first half. He's like, "You should be talking to him." He's like, "You know, you're right, Michael. Who do you think you are? The great Michael Jordan? That's right. There's a new kid on town, right?" Kind of looks at me and starts shaking his head. So at half, I have 10, and he has 4 points, right? I'm doing all this talking. He's like, "Okay." Into the game in the second half, he ended up with 44. And I ended up with 12. So he outscored me 40-2. And as he's walking off, he's like, "Be sure and be careful. You never talk to Black Jesus like that." Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Black Jesus. I'm so sorry.
Did you ever do it again?
Never to Michael Jordan. Never to Michael.
The thing that Michael Jordan doesn't get the most credit for probably would be the fact that he's the most fundamentally sound basketball player that ever lived. You know, if you look at all the highlights, you know, you see the dunks, and you see the jump from the free throw line. But when he's on defense, the correct hand in the passing lane. When he's boxing out, he turns the correct way. When he's in defensive position, he's weak side, he's on the right side of the ball. Like, he's the most fundamentally sound basketball player who was the greatest athlete. Most guys who are super athletic don't do that. To me, that's the one thing he does not get credit for.
Hey, let me ask you something. When you stepped on that court with MJ, did he have a glow?
I swear to God, he had the orange joint. Hey, listen, I'm not even laughing at this.
Look,
you ever look into the sun? I want to, don't do this, but look into the sun, and if you look into the sun and look back at something, you're going to see like a green, right? Man, listen, and you know, and from North Carolina, to hear that,
Jordan, you're going to see the orange?
Lord, listen, I'm in Chicago, I hear it. The nigga walk out here, I swear to God, it seems like everything is stopped. This nigga is moving like in slow motion. Every motherfucker in here looking at him, and he know it.
Right.
Never seen a nigga on the stage like bro.
I got a story I tell people all the time. Mike, it was his last All-Star game. And you know, I'm with Reebok. So that's crazy that I'm about to say this. But we didn't make the Jordan jerseys. But it's his last All-Star game. I want to pay tribute and homage to him. So went in the house, cut the tag off, cut the Nike sign off in the back, put on my Bulls hat, came in there, and I'll never forget it. Man, he was sitting in the coach's office with his feet kicked up, smoking a cigar with his uniform on. I was like, man, that is so cool. Like, you know what I mean? You smoking a cigar before the game, man. You know what I mean? Like, he was there, but you in the coach's office, man. You run everything, man. Never forget it. That was my guy.
A lot of things went on, but as far as LeBron and Michael, if Michael played in this era, he'll average 50. He averaged 50 points. LeBron's a great talent, no doubt. He's probably one of the top 3 players ever played with Kobe, Magic, Kareem, but Michael's right there. I don't know why you guys discuss the GOAT. Why you discuss the GOAT?
I agree. There's no,
Why?
it's not,
Why?
it's not close enough.
but-
It's not close
Right,
enough
right.
between Michael and anyone else to really have the conversation. Let's.
What he brings. Jordan, hard to the hoop. The reverse from Michael. They're on their feet.
Mike wanted to kill you. Was he mean to you?
No, he wasn't. He actually killed me slowly, and yeah, he would comment to the coach, he's actually doing a great job out here, and meanwhile he's pouring in 45.
Wait, he's talking to your coaches?
Yeah, I remember Chris Ford. He's yelling at me. Chris Ford's yelling the whole time. He's like, "Rookie, get in front of him! Get in front of him!" And I'm fronting him on the post, and MJ just kind of slowly glides across the floor, and he gets the ball and shakes and scores. And I did everything the game plan said, and then there's a break in action. We're sitting there, and Chris Ford is just down there just hammering me, and MJ was like, he's doing a great job, coach. He's actually doing a great job. Meanwhile, he's got 45 on the books. So I was like, yeah.
Did you think that Mike didn't want you taken out because he had 45 in the books? Like he wanted you to guard him?
No, I honestly believe that he didn't think that anybody could stop him. He could score whenever he wanted to score, wherever he wanted to score. So it didn't matter what I did out on the floor. He was going to get his touches. He was going to get his points.
You and Jordan were the two best wing players of that era. What was it like to compete against him?
Oh, he's a phenomenal competitor. When you love the game and you play to compete, when you play players like that, you don't have to do anything to get up for the game. You're so psyched. The moment I wake up, I'm ready.
Yeah.
But it's hard playing the teams that are a little subpar, or players who you don't have to get a whole lot of rest for.
Yeah.
But players are good, that's what you live for. So it was a treat.
Talk about the level of ish talk, because everyone says that Michael had the golden boy image at the time, but he was the worst trash talker, that he would say anything. You were right there, just how nasty a trash talker was Michael.
With MJ, nothing was off limits.
Your mom, your wife, your kids.
your brother, your dog, you name it. Nothing was off limit. And that's that competitive nature that he had. A kid named LaBradford Smith used to play with the Bullets, Wizard. He had 38 points on MJ. And we had to play him the next night. MJ didn't talk to anybody, walking off the court, and everybody was saying, oh, this is the next MJ. And he had scored those many points on MJ. The next game we played them in their in their arena, MJ had 40 at halftime. 40. And you never heard of LaBradford Smith again.
Never. And I'm from DC. I don't remember LaBradford Smith.
You know what? Michael wasn't saying much. He just had this look like he was living in his own world. And then, he wasn't even being aggressive offensively as the Michael that I have known or come to know. But throughout that game, you could just see he started to feel it a little bit. And as always, once he started to feel it, we just flooded with the basketball. But he was very quiet. Didn't say much when he went to the bench. He was just kind of in his own world. And for guys who never played with Michael, I've played with him, so I've seen these moments where he kind of shunned everybody out.
Right.
And that was one of those moments where he was just trying to gather himself and just stay in the game. We thought at any moment he may go to the locker room or puke up on the floor. But,
Right.
I think the game's greatest finisher because he had no weakness in his game. When he played the game, especially in the fourth quarter, we refer to him as a three-dimensional player. He's either going to score, he's going to get fouled, or he was going to go to the free throw line and make the 2 free throws. And not many players can do that in the last 4 minutes of a game. Jordan was the best. He was just three-dimensional in every way, every phase of the game, especially coming down the stretch.
So game one, I was a little passive. They beat us. Game two, I said, fuck this shit. I'm going for it. And I said, whatever it takes. And I come out, I'm fucking so aggressive. But Michael know I'm fucking aggressive. He's like, I can see he's talking to Horace and Scotty. He's like, y'all gotta slow that motherfucker down. Because Horace, to me, was one of the more underrated players. him and Scotty, man, when they doubled me, I couldn't see shit.
Long.
They were so long and athletic, I couldn't see shit. But I still, I finished with like 48, 49, somewhere in there, 26, something like that. But Michael fucking had like 55.
Ooh.
That motherfucker would not let me win that game. And I
40
remember
and 20 though.
Yeah, I remember going home. When I got home, my daughter was upset. And I had told her before, I said, ain't nobody in the world better at basketball than your dad, and we're gonna win this fucking series. When I got home, she was crying, and I was like, she's, Dad, I thought you told me y'all were gonna win. I said, Christiana, I ain't never said this before. I think there's somebody better at basketball than me.
Michael was so dominant, not only on the court, but in the locker room, and so everybody felt more a sense of, we're gonna win because we have Michael. So there was a comfort level with his confidence and his dominance, his sort of, king of the hill mentality. So you went into every game like, yeah, he's on our side. But you went into every practice like, I better not get on his bad side, And so it was an interesting combination. He raised the level of every practice so dramatically. Everything mattered to him. Every shooting drill, like he was so competitive, and we used to scrimmage a lot more back then than we do today. Most practice days we would scrimmage at some point, and those scrimmages were battles. And so he wasn't the easiest teammate to play with. In fact, he was probably the hardest teammate I've ever played with. But it was really productive because he was able to raise the level of our competitiveness, but also our confidence. Because every practice day almost felt harder than games, because you had to deal with him. Yep. And it was all on purpose. I think he expressed it pretty well in the Last Dance. That was all really accurate. And so it wasn't easy, and it wasn't my style, but it was definitely effective, and it was genuine to his personality.
I really like Michael Jordan, and he and I are friendly. And he never changes. He just doesn't change. He's the same guy all the time. And I still see him every once in a while. And this guy has done more spectacular things than any basketball player I've ever seen.
I agree.
I mean,
that's Jerry. That is saying a lot. I agree.
I've ever seen.
He's seen a lot.
The stuff he could do. He was the best defensive player in the league.
Yeah.
When he was
Yes,
playing,
absolutely.
he was the best offensive player.
Right.
And his athleticism, he was in Carolina, and they were running, I forget, 100 or 40-yard dash. And he ran some spectacular number. And the late Dean Smith, who was a really good friend of mine, and also Roy Williams, who just retired at North Carolina, we were all close. And they were talking about him, I think it was running 100 or something like that. He ran at some spectacular time.
Wow.
And one of the coaches said something to him differently. And he said, oh, I can do better than that.
Wow.
He went out at 0.2 of a second faster.
Wow.
And like vertical jump means a lot, but it means a lot to the ones who have skill.
Right.
Some guys jump quickly, some guys have to wind up.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan was like
cat.
There's one play that particular that's really interesting to me. They were playing against the New York Knicks. He caught the ball on the baseline, and he started this way, and he turns around, and he dunks it over in such a little short area.
Jordan trying to shake off Starks.
I mean, this area, he was only jumping this way. Some guys need a little bit more room.
Right. Yeah.
He dunked this ball over him. I said, oh my God.
Yeah.
And I watched him play in college. I watched him play when he was trying out for the Olympic team. And I was there for 3 days when he tried. You just watch him there.
Right.
Terrell, I know you have some unbelievable athletes in the NFL, and to take the battering they take and they still They have that extra gear. This guy had an extra gear. Oh my God. I just, maybe he's the most skilled player I've ever seen.
In his second year, which he missed most of the year with a foot injury, his own team didn't want him to play in the playoffs. And they were going to be playing against the Boston Celtics in the very first round. And we've got one of the great teams ever. In the first game, Michael Jordan, who we'd read about and heard about, and a nice career down in North Carolina, Olympic gold medal. And we play Michael, and he just puts himself in and said, I'm going to play. Game starts, Celtics were just rolling, playing great. Celtic crowd, Boston Garden, just over the top, fantastic. At the end of the game, which the Celtics win handily, Michael has 49 points. And we kind of shrugged, and because other guys have scored many points in games where they lose. And so we're kind of in the locker room after the game and muttering amongst ourselves, well, he'll never do that again.
Jordan with 8 on the clock. Jordan ties the game.
Oh, boy.
63 points, and you're looking at an all-time record.
Oh, boy.
So in the locker room after this game, when he gets to 63 in our face, we look at each other and we say, this guy's pretty good.